So, you ever wonder exactly what it is a publisher does? You ever wonder what the process is for publishing comics at No Earth? We're going to talk about that today. Hi, my name's Eagle. I'm the publisher at No Earth Comics, and a lot of times when I tell people that, they're not quite sure what I do, and they're not quite sure what is involved in publishing. So, we're going to go over that today and try and answer a few of those questions. So the first thing to do is realize that just about everything that we do is done in one of two programs. We either use Google Docs or we use Comic Life 3. And I've already done a whole video on Comic Life 3, so for today I'm just going to be showing you what we do with Google Docs, and we will be referring to Comic Life 3 and what it does. But if you really want to see a demonstration of that, go take a look at the video. Now then, first, we have this shared area, and this area is shared amongst the editorial board. Now, why do we have an editorial board? We have an editorial board because I am not God. I have a lot of knowledge on comic books. I have a lot of knowledge on editing. I have better editors on the editorial board than my skill level. Both PC and Bethany are better at editing than I am. Now, I'm really good at story structure. I'm really good at continuity. I'm really good at telling you why that story's not working. They're good at telling you it's not working. I'm good at telling you why it's not working. But one of the things to remember is that it's like there's a synergy there when the 4 or 5 of us are working together on a script. So the editorial board is an integral part of the process, and so I'll be referring to them a lot. When I talk about the board, that's the 5 people, myself included, that are on the board. Bear in mind that these people are volunteers. What they get for doing this is a pittance based on the revenues of the company, and it's a pittance in relation to what the creators get. And I'm not going to go into the full financials on that, but we start with the idea. So either I or somebody else comes up with an idea, and that idea gets bandied about until it becomes a concept. Now, I've posted a lot of concepts on the website on our collaborations chart, and in the hopes that different writers would pick them up. And indeed, several of our comics that are coming up in January are going to be based on ideas that I've posted on the board. And I'm kind of happy about that because I don't have time to write them all myself. In fact, I've taken to doing Marvel Method for a lot of my scripts because I don't have time to do full scripts for artists that are capable of working without a full script. So we start with the pitch. And when we get a pitch, what we want is something. I'm going to go with this. This is the most recent pitch I've done. And I'm going to go with that because it is a what the heck? Oh, I see. Okay, so this is the simple pitch that I have put forward for this comic. And the comic is named The Spirit of the Wolf. The log line is the first thing that we look at, and The Man with No Name 20 years later. And that's just a nice, simple way so that any of the editors that look at this can see, okay, I understand the story. Next, we go into the characters. On this one, I only listed a single character because the book is the single character. And his name is Lupo. And I've given a bit on his personality, I've given a bit on his physicality, and I've given a bit on his clothing. And I've gone ahead and stated that other characters will be on a story-by-story basis. Then I've gone into the setting. And in the setting, I've stated that it's the 1893 time frame for No Earth. I got that off of the timeline that's available online. If you have not set the story properly in our timeline, we're going to talk bad to you. The theme: acceptance and futility. Lupo is reticent to accept himself for who he is, but is always looking for acceptance. He never finds a version of it that measures up to his own ideals. So right there, I'm setting up not just a part of the comic, but the theme. And this is what all of the stories are going to be about. The theme is what your story is about, not the plot. The plot is simply how the story happens. The theme is what the story is about. And we prefer series-wide themes. And the reason for that is we prefer that the reader knows what they're getting when they pick up the book. When you pick up a Spider-Man book, you know that the theme is with great power comes greater responsibility. If you pick up a Batman book, you know that the theme is never again. So, the acceptance and futility of this book is going to be an interesting thing for me to write, and the reason being that in some ways it mirrors my life, because I've always been looking for acceptance, and years ago I came to realize the futility of it and got out of it, but this guy has never gotten out of looking for acceptance. So this is going to inform a lot of what he does. Conflict. While on the surface our conflict will be man versus man and occasionally man versus nature, the deeper conflict is going to be Lupo's reluctance to accept who he is, even after 3 decades of drifting and searching. Many of the man versus man conflicts will be to establish Lupo's desire to avoid conflict. See, part of the acceptance and futility is Lupo does not even accept who he is, but he wants other people to accept who he is. Then here I have laid out the first 6 issues of the story and how they are going to interconnect. Now then, we don't write for the trade at No Earth, but we do expect you to keep the trade in mind and do a 6-issue arc, because that's how we're going to publish the trades, is in 6-issue arcs. And so when you are creating a story for No Earth, it needs to have the 22-page issues, and each issue needs to be solid. And then it'll have the 6-issue overarching story. And then further down here, I've started writing the script, and I'm writing this one in Marvel style. And this is simply my method of writing a script. I'm going to go into this in far more detail in another video. So this is the first step in creating a comic. We go from an idea to a concept to a pitch. And up to this point, no one's had anything to do with this comic except for the person creating it. This is cool. This is the part of individual creation. This is the part where it is brought out of the person who is doing the writing. And from here on out, it's a group effort. This is the last place where individual creation is going to be a part of this process. Because from here it goes to the editorial board. The editorial board is going to take that pitch and they are going to take it apart. Unless you are a top-notch writer, the chances of your pitch getting out of the pitch process with no changes is nil. We get a lot of people that have to wind up doing total rewrites. And that's okay, because the idea is to make the pitch fit in No Earth. Okay? We don't have to make No Earth fit your pitch. We have to make your pitch fit No Earth, because No Earth is such a wide-ranging world. It's such a genre-heavy world. It's got every genre you can think of. There is no excuse for a pitch not fitting No Earth. And with most cases, it's only minor changes, but in some cases, it's very major changes, depending upon the scale at which you're writing. I've talked about that in other videos, but if you're not writing to a proper scale, we're going to wind up having problems. So that's the first step in this. Now we're going to go to the second step. The second step is the script. And this is, I don't need to show you a script. I've shown you plenty of scripts in the past. But the script itself is where we start talking about all of the specifics. When we greenlight you for a pitch or for a script, we're saying we believe in this idea. So this is, we are going to go take a look at a pitch. At a script. What's a good one for this? Now let's go back and take a look at one that's already in production. And we'll look at Eulogy is a good example because it's being rewritten at the moment, and we're going to go into why it's being rewritten. Okay, so Eulogy is being rewritten, and it's being rewritten for the simple reason that there was some problems with it, and it was missing an ending. It was too much of a to be continued. So instead, what we're doing is we're doing a rewrite on it and using the original artwork and simply repositioning where it goes. So here's an example. This is Ube's latest, or actually this is his first version of a cover. And I like this cover, and apparently the rest of the board does too. But there was a problem with it. And the problem is there's no room for the trade dress on here, because basically there's no room for the title up here. There's no room for the logo, for the No Earth corner logo. This is called trade dress. There's also not much room for our coming UPC symbols and ISBN numbers, and that's okay. We can always just put that over there. But up here, if we start putting the logo and the trade dress up here, we're going to have a problem. So this has already been mentioned to him, and this is all taken care of in the comments. And we do all this on the fly. In other words, there's no submission process. You just, when you do the artwork, you just put it in the doc, and then we start taking care of it. In this case, this is one of the pencil roughs. This is still pencils. This is not cleaned up. This is not inked, but this is a pencil rough. And I have already gone in and added the lettering. And the reason I've done that is so that the artist and the writer, which is me at the moment, can see how the lettering is fitting into the artwork. And it gives us an idea of what's coming, and it lets the rest of the board take a look at what we're doing and see what they think of it. For instance, this is the next page, and over here on my other computer, I have this page on Comic Life 3, and I'm playing with the lettering. The lettering on this is going to be a little tricky, and so I'm trying to make sure that everything comes out right. This is going to be a very text-heavy page because he's delivering a eulogy. We're also introducing characters. And so these characters are needing to show up, and we will be taking care of this. So this is after the script goes through the editing process, then we start adding in the artwork, and the artwork goes through the editing process. The editing process is ongoing. Okay, the editorial board is involved with this from the beginning to almost the end. So that's what we're looking at for the script process. As things move along, the artwork moves along, we wind up doing more and more in Comic Life 3. And this is because we start adding in the extra pages, the editorial content pages, such as the inside front cover, such as the in-house advertising. Later, as we expand, we will be adding outsourced advertising as well. But the back cover gets added, the whole bit. And we do all this on a running basis in Comic Life 3. And in the process, we make these comics available to everybody who is in the who's in the collaborative process in the company, because we want them to see what's going on. So for an example here, I'm going to go into the Scarlet Avenger. And the Scarlet Avenger is one that we've been working with for a while. And I'm doing the writing, and Chris V is doing the artwork on it, and I really like what he's doing with it. But we're going to go take a quick look at it. So this is, hold on, let me get y'all over here on the same tab as me. So this is the Scarlet Avenger. And this will be, okay, so this is the Scarlet Avenger. And let me resize me a little bit. Here we're seeing the cover, and we're seeing the inside of the front cover. I really need to change this to single page. Okay, so this is the front cover. Then we go to the inside front cover, and this is where the masthead will go. This is where the, for the last couple of comics, we've put a recruiting message here. And I'm going to change that up this time to be a What No Earth Is message. And this is the current mock-up of the first page. And so the other people that are involved with No Earth that are not involved with this book in specific can look at this and see how it's going. And they can do this for checking continuity. They can do this for all sorts of purposes. But it's a good way for them to see what we're doing and what stage other projects are at. So this is still in the pencil roughs, and since this is being written Marvel style, it means that I have to go in and write the dialogue while he's doing the artwork. It's a true collaboration. So a lot of times the dialogue that I've got in my head when I see the artwork, I've got to change it around and take a look at it and so on and so forth. And this is going to be true of any of our writer-artist collaborations. But what you're looking at here is the whole concept of the work in progress file. And this file is available to any of our collaborators for that very reason. So, real quickly, this one's got some good pages coming. I love this page. There's a single line of dialogue on this page, and it's going to be back up as here. And I kind of like it. So a lot of times what I've done is I've laid out what action I think needs to happen on the page, and then the artist goes in and draws it. And in this, I get to have fun because I'm depending on the artist's visual storytelling skills. I've told them what the story is, and now they go in and tell it. And now I go in and decide what areas need okay, I didn't write that. That's cool. We've been talking about the Scarlet Avenger, me and the artist, and the Scarlet Avenger is a tech hero. And he invents all these neat little Batman-style gadgets, and he's got a company put together that helps him invent this stuff. So this here, these flying balls that turn into bolos in midair. Oh my, I didn't write that. That's neat. I'm going to have fun writing the dialogue to go with it. Okay. I admit it. I'm geeking out right now, so just bear with me. So this is part of the process, is keeping these mock-ups going. And on this mock-up, we're going to go all the way to the end here. And the rest of this is blank pages until we get, where are we right now? 21. This is a page that is page 25 in the book, and this is where a letters page would normally go. Instead, we use it as a place to go in and put background information, sketch art, all of it giving you additional background about the comic book, stuff that you don't need to enjoy the book. You don't need to know this stuff to enjoy the book, but knowing it is cool. Like I might do a small write-up on those bolo balls for this page. So the next page is also an in-house page, and this is the page where we're going to do our recruiting message from now on. Next page, this is the inside back cover, and we're going to show covers from other books. And the last page is the back cover, and I don't have anything on that one. But this is the ongoing process of showing what the comic is looking like at this point. Now then, from here, we're back in Comic Life 3. Now, Comic Life 3 creates those CBZ files that you're looking at there. So, Comic Life 3 is very important to our entire workflow, and we do a lot with it. So, Comic Life 3 also outputs to a print-ready PDF. So once we've got the entire book put together and the editorial team has signed off on it, we do a print-ready PDF and we send that to the printer. And the printer then does a physical proof for us, and we take a look at that and make sure everything's good, and then we print. And that's the entire process from start to finish. Now, there's a lot of nuance here. There's a lot of details I'm leaving out. There's not any steps I'm leaving out, but there's a lot of steps that I'm condensing really, really hard in order to get this done in less than a 6-hour video. But I think you've got the basic idea of what we do and what I do. My job as publisher is to take this from step A all the way to step Z. I cover everything. And because of that, I don't always get the time to spend on the details of a comic book, but I try to be intimately familiar with all of the plots, all of the storylines, because I'm also the line editor. I'm the person in charge of the entire line and maintaining the continuity and the look and feel of the No Earth universe. So I'm hoping that this has given you a better idea of what it is that a publisher does and what it is that makes our process work the way it does. Other than the art programs used for the individual panels, in some cases these are things like Photoshop, GIMP, or Clip Studio. In other cases, these are hand-drawn. And we like both. Sometimes we get artists that are giving us full pages and they've already done the layouts. Other times they want us to do the layouts and they give us panels and we combine them into the pages ourselves. I wind up doing most of the lettering, but that's simply because I've got the expertise in Comic Life, and we've had several of the artists come in and go, okay, your lettering looks better than mine, do it please. And it's like, okay, that's not a problem. It's a fairly quick, painless process. But I think that I've covered the basic process. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for sitting through something that, unless you are a comic professional, or unless you're trying to get into the comics profession, this was a boring video for you. But thank you for watching, and please subscribe, please like. If you know people that are going to enjoy this, please share. But we're going to talk again.